Hey guys, it's SkilledLegend here, and today I am skipping the intro, and you guys get to see my face because we are doing a Q&A. So I let you guys ask me some questions on Twitter, so I'm gonna just start posting those right now, and let's get right into it. So anyways, Leonardo asks, how much do you squat, curl, fastest running time for a mile? If you were in the Pokemon world, who would be your starter and team? How much would you bench? What sports do you play? Do you think Ash will ever end up a man like Red? And do you think Red will appear in the anime? Okay, so I'm gonna answer the sports related questions first. So, anyways, to answer those questions, I played football, I played soccer, and I played tennis. A lot of people might say that tennis is kind of like what compared to those two other sports, but it was actually great agility training for when I did get back into um, soccer and football. That being said, you could ask me why I didn't do track or something like that. And, when I go for those kinds of things, I like to kind of do my own thing. I don't like to run for the sake of running. If I'm going to run, it's going to be on my own time and not because I'm trying to beat a time or do those kinds of things. I usually like to enjoy my walks or jogs, so I chose tennis over doing track for my agility training, and it worked out good. I mean, I did really well. Um, so, but anyways, other than that, like, how much did you squat, curl, and bench? It's been ages since I've had to do that kind of thing. Like, actually record what I do, and it's been ages since I've actually worked out. The most working out that I usually do is, like a couple of sit-ups and stuff here and there, and I usually go for a walk around the lake every once in a while, but I don't really like work out like I used to back in high school. I just don't really have the time to do that. Although it wouldn't be a bad thing to get back into, another reason I don't really do it is it's really hard to make time with my friends because we're all um, getting pretty old now, so like they have hugely different schedules than I do, and so it's really hard to find time and a person to go with. I guess I could go alone, but I don't know. I'm more of a social person. I need that extra motivation to do something when it comes to working out. If I don't have that motivation, I'm gonna go in there and do like 2 or 3 sets, and then just walk out and probably not show up again for another month. So, the fastest time that I ran a mile, gosh, okay, so we used to have a mayor's run in our town when I was little, and it would be a mile, and it was for all the schools to do. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the exact time, but if I had to guess, since I think I was a second grader when I did it, second or third. So, but anyways, I think the time that I got was around 7.5, 8 minutes. So yeah, that would probably be the fastest time because I don't, like I said, I didn't run track or anything. I didn't ever have to do a whole mile for anything that I ever did in the sports world. Um, so if I was in the Pokemon world, what would my starter and team be? Honestly, I am a huge fan of Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is my favorite starter, and my team, I would probably try to go with one Pokemon from every generation. Um, I don't know, like, that's a really hard question because I like so many Pokemon, but at the same time, I guess I could say that maybe I wouldn't do one of every generation because like a lot of my favorite Pokemon are in Gen 3. I really like Gardevoir, I really like Metagross, Salamence, I really like Absol, and gosh, what is that? Mawile. I really like a lot of those Gen 3 Pokemon, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan of Gen 6 and Gen 4. Um, there's just way too many Pokemon to make a start, like choose a team from. But I can tell you that the starter I'd probably choose is Cyndaquil. If there wasn't like almost 900 Pokemon now, I would probably, be able to pick a team. But now that there's just so many, it's just way too hard. And I know that sounds kind of stupid, but who knows? Maybe they should up the amount of Pokemon that could be on a team to maybe like 10 or 12, because there's too many now. So, your next question was, do you think Ash will ever man up like Red? What do you mean man up? Like, in what sense? Because I feel like Ash has already accomplished a way lot more than Red ever has. Red may be able to catch every single Pokemon in the Kanto region, but Red also lost to Gold and never went to a single region after Johto except for his reappearance in Alola, and it didn't seem like he had any new Pokemon or any new adventures. He was just there, while Ash is about half his age. Well, I guess not half. He's probably, it looks like he was 16 or 17 in the game, so he's like 6 or 7 years younger than him and already has traveled 7 regions, whereas, you know, Red went through Kanto, caught all the Pokemon, then went to Johto, didn't catch any new Pokemon, but got challenged by Gold and then got beat, and then he went to Alola and got beat by that protagonist. So, I don't know. I think that, they're both really cool characters, but to say that Ash needs to man up like Red, I don't know. I feel like Ash has accomplished more in a lot little of time frame in the actual Pokemon world, not in our time, but they're both very good characters. It's just one of those things where, like, it's hard to compare the two because Red is a game character and Red is driven by the actions that we make because we play as him, whereas Ash is just some anime character that the writers get to create. So it's easy to be like, oh, well, Ash isn't as good as Red, but that's because we're playing as Red. We can make him as good as we want him to be. And also, that's another kind of, to answer your other question, I don't think he'll ever be in the anime because it would kind of ruin his persona, because his persona is whatever we created it to be when we were playing the game, and if he shows up in the game, that kind of ruins his whole mystique, if that makes sense. It's kind of like how for the first 3 Halo games, people were asking why they never showed the Master Chief's face, and for a longest time, Master Chief actually didn't have a name. They created the lore around him after, I think, the second Halo game, but in the first Halo game, he didn't have a name, he didn't have a face, and that's because they wanted you to basically personify the Master Chief as yourself, as that silent hero. And it's also why they didn't show the character in Halo Reach, his face, because they want you to put yourself in those shoes, create the personality, create the character. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think Red will never be in the anime, and why, it's hard to compare those two characters. If you mean man up in the sense of, like, will Ash ever, grow up like Red? I don't know. Because, the anime's been about 10-year-old Ash for 20 years now, so I don't know if they'll ever decide, hey, Ash should age a little bit, or hey, Ash should, be 16, 17 like Red. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of my answer for that question. So anyways, the next set of questions are right here, and it's from Official Elite King. He says, do you have a job, and if so, what do you do? Yes, I do have a job. I currently work at the university in my city, and I work in one of the research labs, and it's in the they have like a plant sciences innovations lab. We work with a lot of different things, but the particular lab that I work for, we use this fungus called Exophyella, And if you haven't heard of Exophyalla, it's not very commonly talked about, but it's kind of one of those things where it should be more talked about, because it is a fungus that is a lot like humans in the sense of we have kind of the same cellular structures, and obviously it's a lot easier to play with because it's not a human, but it is a fungus. But the weird thing is that the cellular structure of Exophyalla is so similar to humans that it is actually one of the leading causes of our biggest problems when it comes to getting sick, cancer, those kinds of things. This is because we're learning more about the what's the right word for this? Like our immune system, I guess. Like gosh, I can't even think of the word, but like the things that affect us. So like immunotology, I guess I would say. But we're learning more and more about it, and the more we learn about it, the weirder things get. We're dealing a lot less with like things like bacteria and viruses and those kinds of things, and we're actually running into more funguses causing problems with our immune system. And it's because they are just like us, and they like to feed on things that we feed on. Our number one source of energy is from turning food into a sugar, and that sugar is also their main carbon source. And the worst thing about it is that these funguses that we work with are very resistant. They're very hard to kill. They can survive in these volcanoes. They can survive underneath the ice and snow and negative-degree temperatures. Heck, they can even live in nitrogen sources. So when you go to the bathroom, like if you pee or something, they can live through that process. And if there's a little bit of them that didn't leave your body, they're not dead. So they're kind of like the cockroaches of the fungus kingdom. So they're very hard to deal with, and we're doing a lot of stress testing. And it's ironic that the irony of everything is that a lot of the things that we can't deal with, like poisonous metals and like salts and stuff, like the things that are poisonous to us are very poisonous to them as well. So we're stress testing in some of those environments, seeing if they can still grow within let's say a sugar source that was contaminated by a poisonous metal. And we're trying to see if they'll survive, if they'll even reproduce, if they'll even grow. And we're going to see if there's something that we can find that maybe isn't poisonous to us, that we can convert those sugars to, and see if we can get rid of some of those problems that they cause. Because like I said, they're causing illness, they can cause disease, they can cause all sorts of problems for the human body. It's not just, a cold or a flu. They can actually cause cancers and certain things as well, just like we previously thought, and we know that bacteria can do as well. They're just a lot harder to get rid of than a bacteria or a virus. And that's saying something, because viruses are very, very hard to get rid of. But anyways, that's what I do. That's what I do at work. So I work with those kinds of things. And then I'm also finishing up school, so I will be doing my own biochemistry work here in about a half a year. So we'll see how that goes, and maybe I can update you guys on what I actually do when I'm out of this lab. Or even if I might not even leave this lab, I might do more work in this lab. I don't know yet. So, alright, the next question is from Linus Moda, and they ask, do you think that there is any hope for Serena? Yes. And now I know that I said that really quickly, I didn't hesitate, but here's the kicker. Here's the catch-22. I think that Serena is going to return, but I do not think that she is going to return in the way that everybody hopes and dreams for. I believe that she is going to get the equal opportunity that every other Pokegirl got, especially with her popularity. I don't think she's going to get the Iris treatment where she only gets one special. I think she's going to get the Dawn and May treatment where she gets her own special and she gets cameo episodes. Now, how many she will get, I don't know. Dawn got 9. I'm hoping that she gets 9 as well. Maybe even more. But I do not think that she is going to stay. I don't think that she's going to get any more special treatment other than that. That's my take on it. I don't see it happening where she returns and she is Ash's companion for another entire region, unless Ash was to age. But as we've heard recently, that the main anime director said that he likes to think of Ash as his 10-year-old self. So I don't see Ash's age changing, at least in the near future. So I don't see Serena and Ash reuniting for another region or for another adventure unless Ash ages. However, I do see her showing up for maybe a cameo, maybe a special, maybe both. But like I said, it's either going to be like a Dawn treatment or it's going to be like a May treatment where she might get both. But we'll have to see if she gets more than those two girls. We just don't know. But I feel like it is definitely going to happen just because of her popularity. Alright, so the very last question that I have for you guys today is from Rocky, aka Benjamin L. And they ask, do you have a pet? If so, how many and what animal or rock? Alright, so I do have a pet. My family actually is one of those families that had a crap ton of pets when I was a kid. I'm not going to go through all the pets that I had because it would just take forever. But currently, and in the last couple of years, I've always had dogs. I know that's very generic, but we had a line of schnauzers, and then currently alive today, I have a Yorkie. She's the coolest dog in the world. She is so smart and she knows a lot of things that I just never thought possible for a dog. Our schnauzers were very smart too, but they were very stubborn. They didn't like doing things that they didn't want to do, and they were very they were very resilient to some of the things that we asked them to do, like going into their room because they knew that my parents and I were going to work for 6 hours. Well, actually, that was when I was younger, so I would have been at school, not work, but either way, the points are crossed, and so they were very stubborn dogs. But this dog has had a lot easier of a life. My parents no longer work, and so they get to spend a lot of time with her, and she's very intelligent and very loving, and she likes, she has no problem doing what they ask, and so, I don't know if it's just the nature of the dog, I don't know if it's just the different breeds, but they were both very smart breeds, but this dog amazes me sometimes. She knows when you're talking about her. She knows when you have food at the table not to bug you. And if you give her a piece of food, she will maybe beg you for another piece. But if you tell her that you don't have any more, if you just say all gone, she walks away and she goes and minds her own business and goes plays with her toys. She doesn't run away when she's out in the yard by herself. She does get excited when she sees other people, so she might, go, roll over on her belly and let them pet her, because she knows she's adorable. But she won't run away, if you're out there alone. She won't just wander across the yard and go explore. She'll stay with you, and she's very protective of our family. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and they're all various ages, and she knows how to protect the kids, and she'll make sure that they're okay and not hurting each other, so she's very intelligent. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I had hundreds of pets when I was little, but I just don't want to go through naming all kinds of pets that I had. But I will tell you a funny story just for a consolation, since you mentioned the Orrock thing. When I was little, I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and I had to go to daycare because, you know, my parents had to work. And so there was a person at daycare that I played with, and it was a little girl. And apparently my parents had told me this, but I got in trouble at the daycare because I had bit the little girl. And my parents were talking to the person who ran the daycare, and she couldn't get a smile off her face. She couldn't stop, like, kind of giggling throughout the story. Well, it turns out that we were playing with our rocks, and the girl had stolen my rocks. And when I had told them about the why I bit her, is because she had stolen my chickens. Obviously, I didn't have real chickens, so what they figured out was that she had stolen my rocks, which in my imaginations were my chickens, and I was very upset because she told me that she was going to eat my chickens. So that kind of reminded me of that when you put the Orrock thing, so I thought I'd share that with you guys. But anyways, that's all the questions and time that I have for that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want, you can start leaving questions for another Q&A in the comments section below, and who knows, I might do another one. Or you guys can leave comments and tell me what you guys want me to talk about next. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.